first of all, let's talk about the hesitation that you see with BJJ people to learn takedowns. You know, what do you think the hesitation is there for those guys? Why they don't want to learn it?
Well, there's a couple reasons. I don't want to admit this, but I'll say it. Let me just say it right away. I've always not wanted to admit this. I do believe, I have to say it, that takedowns are a little more dangerous. You notice I just said little. There's something there that takedowns on average will probably get you hurt when you're past 40 years old. Over groundwork. Older guys that I'm gonna already argue with myself. If you know what you're doing, takedowns are great, okay, and they're not that dangerous. You got to learn how to break fall. You got to learn how to stand, how to protect yourself. Learn takedowns. So one reason why they don't is they're afraid of takedowns. That's the answer. They're afraid. Most people don't know how to teach takedowns, so automatically they're teaching lower level skills. So what happens? They go out and they do some sparring. Neither guy knows how to stand right. They fall down, they get hurt, and they go, I'm not going to takedown class anymore. So they're afraid of takedowns because nobody knows how to teach them takedowns properly or teach them all the fundamentals, the break fall, everything, how to be safe. Why don't you just chill? The same way you guys do jiu-jitsu and you relax and you flow with the go. Why don't you do that with wrestling or with judo? Do the same. It's the same thing. All right. That's one thing. But the other thing that I wanted to point to why jiu-jitsu guys don't do it. Okay. I had this thought. They don't have the skills. That's the biggest problem. It's the sport itself has driven the jiu-jitsu world to love the submission, but to not give them the vehicle to get to it. And they go, what are you talking about? Of course we give them the vehicle. We pass the guard. But that's part of the ride, but it's not every fight, usually 99% of the time is going to start standing. Even in tournaments, it starts standing, but we can pull guard. That's where your problem is. That's the root of your problem. If you allow people to pull guard, they'll readily do it. It's because the guard is a great position for a lot of guys. And I am a wrestler that admits it. But all you have to do is just say, we're not going to let you voluntarily go there. Can you pull guard in judo? No, you can't. That's what I thought.
Nope. If you pull guard in judo, you're going to lose.
Yeah. What happens if you pull guard in wrestling? You're going to lose. So, it's one of those things where if I know that it would change the sport in some negative manner to a degree, it would make guys better at takedowns. They would be less good at guard work, and they'd be less, well, not totally, but what I mean by that is with less guard pulling, you would literally have to spend more of your time on takedowns. So that would limit all the other stuff you do in jiu-jitsu. It would reduce our skill level to a degree. Remember, lots of guard pulling makes lots of great guard players. And it also helps improve guard passing to a degree. Because if your partner is always pulling guard, that means you're always passing guard or attempting to at least. So there's something that will be lost. But overall, it will strengthen. Overall, it will strengthen. We would get back to the older days. The old Gracies, when they would fight in MMA, and not just the Gracies, but all Brazilians, as much as the wrestlers and the judo guys of the old days would say, oh, their takedowns aren't that good, they kind of duck their head when they shoot, they were still tough and they got after it. They could take people down. Every Gracie or every Brazilian could duck their head, wrap a guy up in a body lock, squeeze, and trip their opponent. And even if they fell to the bottom, they didn't care. They scrambled to sweep their opponent or to get back on top. So that a lot of that has been lost with today's jiu-jitsu. So that's why.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You know, if you think about the old school, you know, MMA, when the Brazilians would fight and do, you know, the Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys, if they clinched with people, they took them down. Like if they got the clinch, they got the takedown.
I really feel, I tell this all the time, so many people have forgotten. Look at Royce Gracie's build. Does he look strong? He doesn't look strong. He's skinny. He doesn't have a great build at all. But for some reason, think about that. That slim, skinny, frail looking guy. And everyone thinks that he just pulled guard every fight. And I'm like, are you guys blind? You guys only remember Dan Severn versus Royce Gracie. Do you not remember every single fight when he shot in and was double legging people and wrapping them with a body lock and tripping them? And again, Gracie in action tapes when he was even smaller than when he taking down kung fu karate guys left and right by shooting in. They were almost always on top. They didn't go and pull guard against these guys on the Gracie in action tapes. They went out and took them down. And even though from a judo wrestling point of view, we would say, it's not the best technique, but they were still battle tested and they could take people down. For that day, they weren't bad at all.